Hi, and welcome to this week's video. In this week's video, we're talking about the PET, the Preliminary English Test Speaking Exam, and in particular, Part 3. So, hopefully you've already seen the previous video with regards to speaking Part 2, where you have to describe a photo. So, what's Part 3 all about? Well, in Part 3, you are going to be talking with and making a decision with your partner who's in the examination room with you, and you're going to have to make a decision and talk about a certain topic and come up with a decision of a choice that you're going to have to make. So, an example of this part of the exam would be something like your school friend is leaving your classroom to go to live in another country, like England, for example, and you have to decide which would be the best leaving present for you to give her. This could be a choice of 5 or 6. So let's say, for example, a signed photo of the class, an umbrella because England is raining all the time. It could be a camera or some other kind of memento. And you have to decide between yourselves which one is the best kind of present. Now, it's important to note that the examiner doesn't mind which one you choose as long as you come up with a decision. There's no right or wrong answer, okay? It doesn't say, oh, the camera's the best or the photo's the best or whatever. It makes no difference which one you choose as long as you make a decision. So how long do you have for this part of the exam? Approximately about 2 to 3 minutes. 2 minutes to talk about things and then maybe a minute in order to come up with a decision. So with 5 items, you've got to go around the items in quite a rapid succession. Remember that this is a speaking exam, so you're going to get marked on your level of grammar, your vocabulary, your intonation, how you say things, okay? But also, you get marks for how you involve your partner. What kind of things can you ask them? What kind of things you discuss? It could be that the partner that you're doing is not very strong when it comes to speaking, and you may have to force them by asking them questions in order for them to speak. If you are overtaking the conversation and speaking too much because the other person is quieter than you, you will be deducted points for not involving the partner. So it's important that we ask who, what, why, where, how, and which questions. Questions that get somebody speaking without them just giving a yes or a no. The secret to doing this part of the exam is to not say, I think this one is the best idea, okay? Because then you're making the choice straight away. Instead, you should be talking about the fors and against each one, yeah? Why you feel that it's suitable and why you feel that it's unsuitable. And then at the end, we can say, I think this one's the best, or if it was me, I would choose, okay? A lot of the time in this part of the exam, the examiner will hear, I think, what do you think, 1,000 times. So it's important that we come up with other expressions to express opinions and ideas. So, expressions such as I feel like, if it was me, I would choose. I consider this to be the best. Yeah? So a whole range of expressions are out there instead of saying I think. Even 2 words. For me, yeah, or I feel that, etc. 1,000 times better than saying I think or what do you think? Because if we're not careful, it's so repetitive it becomes boring. We have to make these things quite exciting because the examiner is going to hear the same conversation all day, and I'm sure they get very bored when people say I think or what do you think all of the time. So it's important also that you can express your own opinion in the way that if it was me, I would like to receive this. Yes? Yeah? You can say that's a good idea, yeah, but again, it's like I think, yes, or I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. It's a bit repetitive, yeah. So say, oh, I like that suggestion. I would also like to add, yeah, and answer in this kind of manner. Practice, 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 and try to erase the words I think. So, how do we go about doing this part of the exam? Well, someone's got to speak first, yeah? And it's always nice to start the conversation by asking, would you like to go first or shall I? Or shall I go first? Always nice and polite. Would you like to go first? You're offering the opportunity for the other to speak first. If they say no, you start, or okay, I will, then that's fair enough. Remember, it's also a listening exercise too. So listen to what your partner's saying, yeah? And either agree or disagree with them. If the other person is rabbiting on and endlessly and is overtaking the conversation, don't be afraid to butt in. Say, oh, excuse me, I'd like to suggest this. Or can we speak now? Okay, can I speak now? Yeah. So don't be afraid to butt in if you think they're taking control of the conversation too much. Okay, you can always interrupt. Think of the exam as if you're making a decision with your friend, even though the person in the exam room you may not know or may not have met before. Treat it like you're making a decision with your friend. You wouldn't say, I think all the time, or you wouldn't let them control the conversation, would you? So, don't be afraid to speak up and express your point of view. In this, we have to move from one subject to the other. So practice phrases such as, let's move on. Let's move on to speak about this. Or, I think we should talk about this now. Yeah? These kind of phrases will link you easily from one form to the other. Some items may have similarities. So it may be, for example, like I said before, an umbrella for London, and another option may be a raincoat. Yeah, both kind of similar things. So you can link them together if you so desire. Yeah. So we have gone around and talked about each one in turn. Okay, for about 2 minutes. So you say your opinion, ask the person what they feel. Yes, what their opinion of what you've said is. They're either going to agree with you or disagree with you. And hopefully they will move it on to the next subject. They will give their opinion and ask you your opinion. And then you go to the next one. The same thing. So you're speaking, either they're agreeing or disagreeing, they're giving an opinion, you agree or disagree, give your own points of view, and move it around one to the other. It's important that you do not repeat exactly word for word what the other person says. So, I can say, I agree with you on that, and I'd also like to add, yeah? And then you can come up with another point, okay? Don't just repeat what they've said, or go, yeah, yeah, yeah. The more complex you speak, the more points you're going to score. So, we have talked about each of the items in turn, okay? Maybe we're running short of time and you've not spoken about them all. It doesn't really matter. So now it comes to the time when we have to decide which one we're going to choose, okay? So how do we formulate a decision? Well, there may be 5 items, and during the conversation, you can already discount maybe 2, if not 3, of the worst ones. Maybe you've come up with the thing saying, oh yeah, I don't think that's going to be useful, or I don't feel that she would appreciate this, or whatever. So at least 2 or 3 of the items you can discount straight away. So you start by saying something like this. Well, I think we said that item A and item B we can discount because we said they weren't suitable. Moving on, let's talk about this, which leaves you with 3 items to talk about. Do not make the mistake of choosing the best item first, because it's a decision-making process. So you're going to pass one idea to your partner, okay? I think that maybe the best present would be the umbrella. How do you feel about that? They're going to say yes or no. If they agree with you, okay, you don't really want that straight away, because then that will be the end of the exam, okay, because you've made a decision, yeah? If they say, oh yes, I think that's a great idea, yeah, let's choose the umbrella, okay, I would say something like, well, okay, we've still got the other 2, yes, which of these other 2 do you think is the best, okay, item A or item B, and give them a choice, okay. I think item A is best because it's more cost effective, it's cheaper, and then that leaves you with 2. And then you can propose the same question again. Okay, that leaves us with item C and item D. For me, I feel that item C is the best because X, Y, and Z. Yes? Would you consider that to be the best? And they're going to say either yes or no. If they say yes, then that's great. Okay, well, let's call it item C. End of the exam. So the secrets for this, remember, it is a speaking examination. However, do not take over the conversation. If the person is quiet, then you have to encourage them to speak, and in that way you're scoring valuable points. Don't take too long on each of the items. Yeah? You can say, I agree with that, but I would like to add, or I disagree with that because, yeah, but keep it short and sweet. Yeah? Move on to the next item so you have spoken, or at least try to speak about each of the 5 items. Do not concentrate on 1 or 2 because you're going to run out of time, and that makes your decision process just that little bit more difficult. So remember, when you come to make a decision, yes, you can give the pros and against. Immediately you can wipe out, erase, dismiss, whatever, 2 of the items because you've already discussed them and you both agreed during the conversation that they weren't probably the best things to choose, which leaves you with an option of 2 or 3. So give the person the option to decide, then agree or disagree and pass it from one to the other until you make that final decision. Okay, so I hope this has been useful. Practice makes perfect. If you can, there's a whole host of examples on the internet that you can see. Most of them involve choosing something like a present, or maybe choosing a place for a school trip, this kind of thing. Normally they follow the same kind of context and the same rules. So practice at home, practice with your friend, look for other words instead of I think that or what do you think, and I'm sure you'll be fine. Next video, we'll move on to part 4, which is quite easy, and I hope to see you then. Remember, click like, click subscribe, follow the channel, keep up to date with all our videos, and you'll be speaking English like a professional in no time. See you soon. Bye-bye.